42% of Long Beach residents are Latino. That is a big number with big implications. Here to explore what it means for Latinos in Long Beach are three guests. Jessica Quintana is Executive Director of Centro Cha. Evangelina Ramirez, co-founder of Long Beach Latinos in Action. And Raymond Chavarria, Executive Director of the Latin American Community Center. Let's begin our discussion with the number 42%. I'm not sure that many people appreciate the significance of that number. What does it mean to each of you?
Well, that's a significant number. And living here in the city of Long Beach, that means a lot. And I think that we are very proud to have 42%, but I think the challenges are in our demographics and our leadership. It's really not representative of some of the work and that we're doing in the community. So what that means for me is success and hope, but I think we have some challenges.
And I'd like to add to that,
Sure.
yes, 42% is a large number, but in order for them to continue college, the parents don't understand what's going on, they don't understand the language, the child has to translate, which is sometimes, having language accessibility for the parents is very challenging. Also, just education, and we need to make sure that more parents are learning English.
Evangelina?
For me, it's something that impacts me when I know these amounts. But I have been seeing this for a little while. I'm a parent and I have 3 kids, and I see how all these things can affect our kids. And we have a lot of issues and a lot of challenges. And especially regarding education, and a lot of the parents that ignore how the school system is.
Right.
And I want to conclude that even though we have 42%, we should be proud of our culture, because it's part of culture, speaking the Spanish, the language. And when you see other non-Hispanic learning Spanish, we should be proud.
It's very exciting. It's exciting.
Yeah.
That number's exciting.
Well, not to be less excited, but there is something I do want to talk about, and it's poverty. Latinos have the highest rate of poverty in our city. And I wanted to get your reactions as to why you think that is. Why are Latinos the poorest in our city?
Well, I think one of it is immigration status, not being able to get a good job, and having the green card. And it's, with immigration reform almost out the door, it's going to make it difficult. And sometimes you're talking about 1 and 2 parents not having any immigration status, so they have to get the lowest jobs, and it's very difficult.
Well, like when I started working on the group Long Beach Latinos in Action, I was thinking on that. Why we are most of the poor population. And one of the things that I see, first thing I see the language. It's a really big issue, because a lot of the parents, they have to work full time. They don't have time to go to the school. They have kids. They don't have time to educate themselves. This is one of the big issues, and because I passed for all these kind of things, I can tell you, because I start learning to speak English. I try every day to learn better, but it's really hard. It's really hard when you have a family, when you have, especially in housing. For me, it's a big issue, because you have a crowded place, you have a lot of kids, and it's a lot of people inside a 1-bedroom apartment, and you don't have a space, you don't have time to do things for yourself. And I think and I believe that affects a lot of our people in my community.
Jessica?
In my observation in working with youth and families in poverty, it's so comprehensive as to why there's the issues of poverty. But we have new immigrants, and then we also have a long history of folks that have been here, the Chicanos, for a long time, and we have to ask ourselves, why do we still have poverty in the Latino community. And so my observation is that there's a real lack in human investment in our Latino community. We don't see a whole lot of investment in our communities, in our youth, in our families, in the adults. Unfortunately, some of our education system, has really pushed some of our students out. We have.
Well, you talk about education. I definitely want to go there. I want to go back to what Evangelina said about housing. What is the problem with housing, and how does it affect the poverty levels in Long Beach? Can you speak about that a little bit, Jessica?
Well, we don't have rent control. I mean, the city of Long Beach is one place that doesn't have rent control. A lot of families are paying more for rent than they are for anything else in their household. It's unfortunate. We have high housing cost where we have families trying to work 2 and 3 jobs just to pay their rent.
Right. Or several families at times.
Several families living together to try to, have a housing. It's really important that we have rent control, that we have affordable quality housing for our residents who live here in the city, especially who have families. It's important. Housing is kind of, one of the key to the issues as to how well families are doing in their households.
I agree.
Yeah.
Evangelina?
And housing affects everything.
Right.
We think of housing, but housing affects everything.
Right.
Housing affects health, because if you live in a crowded place, if somebody gets sick, everybody gets sick.
That's right.
One of the things. The other part is kids doesn't have a place, don't have a place where study, a quiet place, a good place to study. They have more little brothers, little sisters, and they want to do other things, they want to play, and they don't have enough space. And another thing is because we don't have enough space inside of our houses and our apartments, most of the kids, they want to go out. And
Right.
what happened out? We have a lot of gang members, we have a lot of no safety things on the streets, and it's one of the things that really affect our families. And most of our families, they have to pay more of their half of their paycheck for housing, and sometimes they have to choose pay rent or buy food and necessary things for their family. That's a crazy
It's a
thing.
serious problem.
Well, the other thing goes back to economic, poverty, unable to pay the high rents. So I remember what this house had, maybe 12 people, and all they had was a nightstand and a bed and then a wall. And it was like pigeon coops, with like 12 people. And this is how some people are living. And as Angelina is saying, I met people that don't pay their gas or the electricity or even their water because they can't afford to pay the bills. And I had a family with 4 kids, and and they were living like that and stealing the water from other areas. So, and these stories exist. And with the census in the year 2000, we saw that the multi-dwelling, how many people live in the home, and then of course, it was difficult for us to get the number because the head house who owns the house was the only one who would fill out and not let everybody else. So, it is a big issue here in Long Beach.
Okay, well, thank you. Let's go back to Jessica's. She brought up education, and our first panel actually talked a lot about education. We know that education is a solution to get out of poverty. We know that Latinos are still graduating at a low rate in this city. Let's talk about why, and let's talk about maybe some ways that we could bring up those graduation rates. What are some solutions?
Well, some of the solutions are really supporting that young person who's attending school, because we talked about the challenges of economics. Lots of times those youth are out there having to go to work to help their parents because of the high cost of living. And the other challenges is, not only do they don't finish school, but there's not a pathway to go to college or for a career. And so, there needs to be more positive behavior intervention support systems at the schools and in the homes, and being able to help that young person to succeed and attend their high school and attend college. And, right now it's a lot of our kids are not, there's this sign of hopelessness in our community. And so a lot of kids don't even think they're going to even live today to even go to school tomorrow. And so it's, they don't have that dream of, going to college or, finishing school because they're just living for today. So it's important that we really have and bolster up those support systems in our school to ensure that we have the teachers who are culturally and linguistically appropriate to deal with those students, that we have parent support groups in our schools, that we have after school programming to support our kids in those communities. And so those are some of the things that are lacking.
Well,
Evangeline?
I was thinking one time, I say, how many hours a kid spends at the school and how many hours a kid spend at home without the time that they sleep?
On the computer. On the computer.
Not really. Most of the kids, they have a lot of homework to do. And I say that because I have 3. And it's really hard to them, I have been seeing this for a little while, and one time I asked my son, what you need to continue going to the school, to continue growing up and be fine and get the career. And he told me, I need the teachers help me a little more, because a lot of our teachers, they go to the school, they stand up in front of us, and we sometimes we don't understand, but they don't take the time to make it feel as welcome to the class. They don't make them feel as like we count, And the other part, I think, like parents, we have to be involved in our child's life. I can say that because I'm a parent, And another thing, when I was asking them what you need, and they said, when we got 18, they try to just pushing us like adults. They don't help us to do the transition. This is one of the things that they say, why they don't have a place inside of the school where we can feel free to go if we have problems, if we need something, counselors that can help us if we need that help.
Right. Raymond, what do you think?
I just want to make one comment that we're losing a lot of young kids to gangs. They're being recruited at a very young age. I just had a cousin, 18-year-old killed 2 weeks ago, and the second one is right below him in the gang. So young kids, 17, 18, being recruited, and they're playing high roles in these gangs. So we're losing a lot of those kids into this. Right?
Yeah, that's right. And even if they graduate, we need to ask, are they going to be offered jobs with livable wages? Livable wages is a big thing now, where people are understanding how much do we actually need to be able to sustain our family. And many families are working more than one job. 2 adults are working more than one job to keep it together. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, if they graduate, it's how affordable college is going to be for them. And so, with the high cost of going to college now, again, that's really not, something that they can really take on that economic impact to be able to do that, nor can some of the families. And so how are we making our college more affordable for our students? I think a lot of the challenges are just some of our systems. Our systems are not working, to be able to help our kids and our youth to succeed and make it and achieve their dream.
So even with all of the challenges that we've talked about, I want to ask you all to tell me what makes you most proud about the direction that we're going, Latinos in Long Beach. What makes you most proud about what's happening with Latinos in Long Beach?
Well, I think one of the things that I'm very proud is building a healthy community where it's educating many residents to be organizer leaders. And you saw those when they're doing those campaigns and speaking up in city council. They're not afraid to speak up. So that's one movement that we're seeing a lot of Latinos now taking that force. I have an evidence at MacArthur Park, 47 parents came and they fought for that park to be clean, safe, and now it's a clean park and all that.
Yeah, one of the things that I feel really proud of is we were working in the campaign the many voices, many languages, one voice. And that's a wonderful thing because people can go to the city hall and they can get interpretation and translation. And another thing that we are working right now with parents who really wants to get the GED and helping parents to understand better the scholar system. It's one of the things that I feel proud because we are working on that, and a lot of parents, they feel that they are not understanding better.
And I think what we're most proud of is really doing that work. Right now, within our organization at Centro Cha, we're helping those young folks to get their high school diploma, to go on to college, to get the support that they need, get the job training that they need. And we've been very successful in also running our violence prevention Summer Nights Be Safe program in our communities and having great success and reducing crime in our community by 46%. So we're very, very proud of that.
All are wonderful reasons to believe that the future for Long Beach looks very bright. Thank you all for participating in Reimagining Diversity Long Beach. And now let's hear from another of our future leaders, June Cowsith.
Communities that I'm a part of. That I want to change the world community, that almost vegetarian holding up a peace sign community, that you're not doing enough to make change community, that you're doing too much, slow it down community, that Asian American, let's get our people together community, that hip hop, neo soul vibe and love and all that's brown skin and beautiful conscious Africana community, that Asian American community, that hip hop, that Thai Buddha blessing ancient temples, ancestral prayers, alms to the monk community, that forgiveness for the Christians that said you're going to hell community, that I don't know enough about Laos. What is the secret war community? That healing community, that dreamer commuting on the 405, 510, 101, 110 traffic community, that tired of being the ethnic girl but don't want to play white community, that Long Beach culturally diverse community, that cycling, I don't wear expensive spandex, let's ride or die community, that I ain't no hipster just because I ride a bike community, that spit your heart out through words that don't always have to rhyme community, that sing to express, not to impress, ain't got no record deal community, that independent community, village of strong women who grew up tomboy and now embrace the LGBTQ community, yup, that queer community, scarred by men and dare to be stronger community, writing plays and prose about our woes community, even one woman show community, grassroots organizing, let's empower the youth community, won't admit too broke to eat out sometimes community, that Craigslist job hunting community, struggling community, that happiness to have health and happiness if not material wealth community, that flat-chested don't need no implants community, that love your natural state community, that be yourself community, that too afraid of being a part of more than one community, scared of being hurt by community, that it's okay, you're still learning community, that don't mistake company for community, that it's okay, times are tough, but we gotta hold it together through community.